Welcome to In the Fishbowl with Sue Fish. I'm delighted to have with us today David Taylor, who is author of The Naked Leader, which is the world's fastest selling business book. He's also the winner of the European Business Speaker and is keynoted in 40 different countries, including here at the D91 Londinium Conference in London. Welcome and thank you for joining us. What drove you to write The Naked Leader and how did the name come about?
What drove me was, Sue, that I could not find a book that I understood. They were all full of complex mystery and jargon and acronyms and diagrams, and I wanted to find a book that really was the blindingly obvious. And I've been working in organisations for many years, and I sensed that people actually wanted to speak the blindingly obvious or common sense, or they wanted to sort of ask difficult questions when people use jargon, and they never did. So I wanted to write a book which was the blindingly obvious. The title came from our daughter, Olivia. When she was 7, we were watching The Naked Chef, and she pointed at the Naked Chef, Jamie Oliver, sorry, watched it, and said Naked Chef, pointed at me and said Naked Leader. And that's where the title came from.
Great. So what's different about your approach towards leadership?
It's very simple. Be the very best that you already are. There's nothing wrong with you. And that means we can get on with life now. So it literally means, Sue, Fishbowl's a great name, by the way, well done. It really means that everything you need to achieve anything you want, you already have within you. So it's not telling us off about what we've done wrong in the past, and it's also not sort of inspiring us to be the best we can be. It's just be yourself. You can achieve amazing things in your life. And I think once we know that, we kind of go, phew, there's nothing wrong with me, I'll get on.
And what's the single biggest leadership problem that you see in organisations?
The single biggest leadership problem in organisations is everyone talks about leadership and empowerment and trusting people, but people don't do it. Setting people free within boundaries is the single way to transform every organisation, every project and every team on the planet. And people don't do it because they don't really know how to do it. People think that leadership is about, yes, it's about being a role model, setting an example, but ultimately it's about authority, and it's not. It's about setting your people free. The biggest single problem, the biggest single challenge and the biggest single opportunity, in a nutshell, is leadership is not about a position, it's about a behaviour, and leaders are everywhere. And when people get that, all sorts of magic things happen.
And how about communication? What's the biggest communication problem you see for leaders?
Well, the challenge with communication is it's got so many different meanings in itself that nobody knows what it means. So the biggest single problem around communication for leaders is when somebody says this is bad communication or this is good communication, ask them, what kind of communication do you mean? Because it's quite ironic, isn't it, Sue, that communication as a word has become meaningless because it's got so many different meanings. So when people talk about communication, being really specific, because many people have a different definition. So the biggest challenge on communication and opportunities, find out what people mean when they use the word.
And what do you mean by communication?
I think communication, I believe effective communication is always with the listener. So the listener, it's what message the listener gets when they hear, when they're communicating. It doesn't matter who delivers it, what people say, it's about making sure that people really understand and hear the key message in their own world, not in yours.
If you could change one thing about leaders, what would it be?
Stop meaningless debates about nothing. What's the difference between leadership and management? Who cares? Can we get on with life, please? Stop having these meaningless debates and get on with it.
What message do you have for aspiring new members and Toastmasters and leaders?
Well, don't call yourself an aspiring one. You're a leader the moment you join. Everyone is a speaker, and it's just making different choices in your mind and learning from an organisation like Toastmasters, which has been absolutely staggering today. It's been an amazing experience and very nerve-wracking to speak in a room with so many different speakers and even to be the warm-up man for the world-class speaking competition. My message is join Toastmasters, learn, don't forget though what you already know and who you already are.
Well, there you have it from David. Just finally like to ask, what's next for you?
Immediately next, or?
Yeah,
well, I will just mention that I am now writing a mindfulness book. It's coming out in October. It's called How to Be Successful by Being Yourself. And hopefully it'll do for mind, body and spirit and self-help books, which sometimes aren't very helpful. And when I have so many self-help books I've read, and they involve so much sort of time and effort and energy, and I hope it'll do for that what Naked Leader did for leadership. And it's written, Sue, in a completely new way. As you read it, you automatically relax, you feel calm, you go into a mindful state. You don't have to do anything other than read the words because it affects the subconscious. So I'm very excited about it, and I'm looking forward to that coming out in October this year.
Great. Well, I can't read it. I can't wait to read it myself. But in the meantime,
I'll read it to you if you want.
Yeah,
So that sounds a bit weird. Sorry.
But David, I would just like to thank you so much for joining us at our Londinium conference today. It's been an absolute delight and a pleasure to listen to you and to hear you share your thoughts on leadership.
You're very kind. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you for joining us in the Fishbowl as well. Till next time. Thank you.